It's Black Friday, and we decided to take a little time today to give you a little bit of an overview of and a little bit of a kind of an education about the kind of things we have to offer. I want to start by saying this. It was about, I don't know, let's call it a year and a half ago, or maybe a little longer than that, a couple of years ago, that um, I've had a desire for a long time to take a lot of different stuff that it's not in the books. You only write a book every year and a half or so. And I always kind of felt sort of limited a little bit because there was little snippets I wanted to give and little bites of information about stuff that I didn't write books on, sometimes topics. And I wanted to find a way to take all of that and kind of make it available online, especially with the way technology is today, and everybody's walking around their phone. And so we decided to start with boundaries, and because everybody's got boundary questions. And so we started something called boundaries.me. And boundaries.me is a subscription service, sort of like Netflix, or, Amazon Prime or some video streaming, where you join and there's this whole library available to you. Now, many of you get our emails every day. I hear people all the time. They say, "Oh yeah, I do boundaries.me. I get your email every day. It's got the little video. And it's really helpful." That's not boundaries.me. That's just an email. Boundaries.me is a whole world of content. It's 80 or 90. We're getting up to, I keep adding courses all the time. So we decided to do this, and I started filming these. And they're little. We call them courses. There's mini courses and there's little longer courses, but they range somewhere between like 20 minutes, and there's maybe several little videos in the 20 minutes. You might have four and five little bitty clips of of a lot of different topics. And we started with boundaries. That's why we named it boundaries.me. Here's what happened. I got so excited about this because of the things we were hearing from people that I started, and my team started saying, "Well, why don't we address this? It's not quite boundaries, but what about how to have a difficult conversation?" Or we got a lot of people writing in about they're struggling with depression or struggling with anxiety or a dating relationship or a difficult in-law or extended family or enabling, a adult sibling, or how do you reach your goals, or all this other stuff. So we started, okay, well, let's do a little course on that. Well, let's do a little course on this. Let's do a little course on this. And the production team would fly in and we would film this stuff. And before long, boundaries.me had turned into way past boundaries. It had turned into kind of I like to call it a life university, because it addresses and it trains us in all the areas of life that basically we deal with. Now, I like to think of life as a pie with three big slices in the pie. And the three big slices are, the first one, this is a technical term, but I call it the clinical slice. And that is how we feel. Are you thriving in your emotional well being? You know, stress, depression, anxiety, fears, addictions, phobias, worry, problematic thinking. Can't get those bad thoughts out of my head. You know, all of this stuff that you might go see a therapist about because I just don't feel good, energy levels and all of that stuff. How do we deal with all of that? Right now, the stats in COVID, 40 something percent of America has a diagnosable clinical issue: stress, depression, anxiety, something like this. It is an epidemic. Okay. So that's the first piece of the pie. The second piece of the pie has to do with relationships, all things relational. Our life is about and undergirded and fueled by and hurt by relationships. marriage, parenting, dating, friendship, church relationships, extended family, bosses, coworkers, community, adult siblings, all of that stuff. The relational piece of the pie is the second area. And the third piece is what I call performance. And that's your gifts and your talents and your dreams. I would like to reach this goal, or I would like to build this business, or I would like to, I'd like to lose 100 pounds, or I'd like to get out of debt, or I'd like to change careers. I'd like to start this little online business, or I'd like to do this. We all have dreams. God's created us to have desires of our heart, but getting from a dream to actually making that happen, there's a science to that. And we know from science how to reach goals and how not to reach goals. And so the third area that I address is all that performance stuff. Well, here's what's happened. Over a few years, Boundaries.me has grown way past boundaries to all of life. And that's when you hear me talk about Boundaries.me, we're not talking about the daily emails that if you're on our email list, you get there's little videos on that people say, oh, your daily thing is really helpful. I'm glad it's helpful. We want to provide value. We don't want to just be, sending spam and marketing crap to people, right? One of our values is we always want to provide value. But there's only so much you can do in that little thing, right? And so what we do is we also make it available to you to go a step further and become a subscriber to Boundaries.me. And when you hear me talk about it, that's what we're talking about, this whole world. Go check it out. Go look at Boundaries.me, and you'll find, go on the tab that says See All Courses, and there's pages and pages of courses. We call them courses. They're 20 minutes to 40 minutes or so. And that's kind of the body of it. All right, now, I'm also a person of faith, and I don't have another piece of the pie called your faith life, okay? Because I think faith runs through the whole pie. We don't segment faith to one little area of our lives. It goes through the whole thing. So I do talk about, some faith issues in there as well. So that's the bulk, kind of the body of Boundaries.me. And it works on a subscription basis. For a little more than, a latte, you can sign up and have unlimited access monthly. So here's the deal. That's how kind of it started. That's how it grew. But then it went further. Then we would have people calling in, and this kind of started with COVID too, because I speak at big events and conventions and all of that. And COVID started happening, and all of my speaking events went online. And I do some live events online with hundreds of thousands of people live, all the way down to smaller stuff, when companies hire me or whatever groups. And I was watching these online events. And in addition, I was doing some continuing education online as well with these online webinars. And I started thinking, why don't we make stuff available for our audience on webinars on specific topics that are more and extended and very focused? So we decided to try one last month. We did a divorce recovery workshop online as a webinar. It's a 2-hour live event that we did. And we had a lot of people come, and apparently, not apparently, I say that because it just feels weird to say this, but I'm going to say it. The response was overwhelmingly positive, that people really, really said they got a lot of help from it, and getting unstuck from having gone through a divorce or getting guided in going through a divorce. That's still, all this stuff is still available if you're going through there. And so the response was so positive, we thought, well, why don't we do these deeper dives specifically into some topics that we hear about and start some one kind of one-time event sort of things. The first one was divorce recovery. And then we said, well, we get a lot of calls about anxiety. Let's do an anxiety event. And that's coming up on December 9th, right? You've heard me talk about that. It's a 2-hour event. And all of these are 2-hour events where I come online and teach and talk about what causes this, what do you got to do to get better, how do people get better, and all the techniques and everything is kind of like a package. And we're doing that on anxiety on December 9th. Well, the response for that has really been, surprisingly overwhelming. Again, a lot of people are signing up, and you can still sign up for that. And then we started to think, these one-time events of 2 hours, these seminars, webinars, people really like these. They find them helpful. Let's find out what the topics are they want to address. And right now, we're working out a schedule where we're going to be doing one of those. It looks like about every 6 weeks is probably going to be the cadence. Maybe every 2 months, kind of half a dozen of these a year. And we're going to be addressing other topics. And we've got things planned for this upcoming year. I don't have the list in front of me, but some of the things we're talking about are depression is one of them. We have one coming up. Thank you, Lucy. My daughter just walked in and brought me a snack. That was really nice. I could do this, right? Well, let's see how she did. I let me see. That's good. You know what that is? We went out. We had lockdown in LA. It just hit, and the last night that you could go out was Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. So we did a family dinner celebration for the girls being home, and my daughter ordered mine and her favorite bolognese, and she just brought me some leftover. So we got topics coming up on this. I know depression is coming up. Albie, do you have the list? We have dating. We have a dating one coming up. We get a lot of requests for dating. So I'm gonna have an extended 2-hour one on dating. We get a lot of calls about safe people. We get these calls where I'm in this bad relationship and I picked this, and sometimes our people picker can be off. And so we're picking the wrong people, right? Picking people is an art and a science. And so we're going to have one called Safe People. And that's how do you get to be better at diagnosing people? I was just talking to my daughter, who had, in her extended friend group, had this one friend that's just a nightmare to everybody. And she was telling about the conflicts that this girl was having with the whole community. And I had met her at an event one time. This is a while back, and I said, "Do you remember what I told you about her when I met her?" And I said, "I told you that girl's trouble. She's not okay." And my daughter goes, yesterday, she said, "How did you know that?" And I said, "Well, you can learn this. I mean, you can spot people. If you know what to look for, you can get pretty good at figuring out who you should stay away from, even though they look charming and wonderful." And anyway, that's what Safe People is about. So all these different topics, in fact, they just sent me, here's a list of topics that we will be addressing in these 2-hour events, webinars coming up. Dating, boundaries. We're going to do a 2-hour event just on boundaries, basic boundaries, just boundaries. Safe People, depression, anxiety, necessary endings, faith in your emotional well-being. Something that's very important to me is how do we integrate our faith in all these areas about, getting well. And then I'm going to do one not just on faith and well-being, but also your spiritual journey. What does a healthy spiritual journey look like? How does faith affect our lives? One of the things that research shows in the happiness and thriving research is that spirituality and faith is a big part of healthiness. And I'm going to have one on sort of like the Dr. Cloud view on faith. How about that? Not that mine's the only way, or not that it's even the best way. I'm going to tell you how I do it and how I do it with people. So that's one on spiritual. And then we're going to have one on couples and in conflict. Now we do, depending on feedback and all that, the dates are going to be determined on this, and the topics might be subject to change as we hear more. But basically, we're going to have the specific events on those. They're sending that list. I'm going to ask them. Anything else I have not mentioned, guys? I need to know about. And I want to make sure that I'm telling you all this. So basically, what I wanted to do today here, especially on Black Friday, is to tell you kind of what Boundaries.me has evolved into. In fact, it is Black Friday, and what we've done is we bundled all this stuff for Black Friday in some different ways that you can sign up. Our normal way is you become a subscriber, just like Netflix. And there's a subscriber fee. As I always say, it costs you a little more than a latte per month. I mean, come on, skip one fancy latte and your little biscuit or something, and get healthy. Invest in yourself. It's come on. It's not. Yeah, do this. Become a subscriber. But we've also bundled stuff into 3 packs of workshops. You can pick 3 of the titles. You can pick and choose which workshops you come to. You can become a regular subscriber. You can become a lifetime subscriber, which means as long as we're here, then it's going to be there and you can have it forever. And that's highly discounted. There's a lot of different ways to do this. And so Black Friday, I think they said some of it's like discounted up to 30 or 40% or something.
Yeah, right now, Henry, the annual subscription is 33% off. It's one.
Wow, there you go.
Off,
so
yeah.
The annual one gets way down, and I'm gonna have to go talk to my team about how are we gonna pay bills around here if you keep giving all this stuff away.
I have no idea. It's going to be tough.
Anyway, so that's kind of how this works. Now, I don't really know how to express this to you any other way than the way I feel it, and it's this. I walk around with a couple of, let's call them weighty feelings, burdens, or whatever. One of them is when I see people like hurting and struggling obviously there's a lot of crap in the world I can't fix, right? I mean, a lot, right? But I see people hurting and struggling in ways in relationships and marriages and dating and clinical issues like depression, anxiety, and all that. And I just run into them in life, friends or circles of friends, and I'm thinking, you don't have to hurt like that. There are answers. You don't have to hurt like that. I just want to tell them. And so what this vision, when we had this vision a few years ago, it's just my way of trying to get this information out there that can help people. You don't have to have kids bouncing off the walls with behavior problems. Even though you're trying your best to parent them, there's different ways to parent that will calm them down. There's different ways to parent that'll help them through their fears. There's different ways to have an argument with your spouse that could get to a good resolution. There's different ways to talk to people to get out of crazy conflict. And so I kind of walk around with this, and I'm not the only one that knows this stuff. I mean, I'm a psychologist in an army of professionals that, a lot of people know how to do what I'm talking to you about. But there's a lot of people that just don't know that you can get better. So I walk around and I go, let's get this stuff out to people. And Boundaries.me has become kind of one of my main passions in life, to get the right information and to find ways to get it out to you in ways that are helpful. And that's one of the passions. And the other passion is I can't stand it as a person of faith. I can't stand it when I hear people say, well, the Bible says, and I go, no, it doesn't. Especially if you're dealing with stuff like depression, anxiety, addictions, relationship problems, this and that. Well, the Bible says, and I know the Bible. No, it doesn't say that. Stop it. And I kind of get mad. I get more than kind of. That's not what it says. And I had this thing like, I want to tell you what it actually says about how you get over emotional problems, because it might not be what your church taught you. There are a lot of churches that teach what it actually says, but there's a lot that just teach something that grandma taught them, who was a lunatic. It's just crazy stuff out there done in the name of God. And that makes me mad. And so part of it is every now and then I talk about faith, and I talk about my favorite verse says this, and because isn't it nice to know that you don't have to be a nutcase to have faith? Isn't it nice to know that your faith actually says the same thing that scientific research shows about how to get over emotional problems? That you don't have to be a lunatic? So that's a big burden I carry too. And anyway, that's boundaries.me. And so I just want to take some time today and share all that with you. And on Black Friday, just go to the website. It's all there. I'll tell you about it. Just go to www.boundaries.me and you can read about all of this stuff. And in closing, in today's extended session with you, I just want to thank you guys. I am so touched by on Facebook. Oh, by the way, let me say one more thing about boundaries.me. You also get to join a community. And there's a community there that comes together and has a lot of experience just in their own lives about sharing, and they help each other. So that's another plus of being a subscriber. And then you get a daily, I forgot to mention that you'll get a daily specific coaching email specifically for boundaries.me members called One Thing. And it's one thing I want you to do every single day. Just one thing. And it's short, it's brief. Every day it comes in your inbox, and I'm taking you down a path, and I become your online coach in that way. But what I started to say was, I just want to thank you guys, the audience in this program. You've been such an encouragement to me, and if if I weren't doing something helpful, I'd keep doing it because you're helping me. But you're kind of helping me, telling me that it's helpful, so that keeps me going too. So we're in this together. It's a big circle, right? And I just want to thank you guys for the incredibly kind things that you email in and post on Facebook and other things about this community we're building together to encourage each other to grow and to keep going. And I want to thank you for that. And so here we go. We're heading into the holidays. Also on boundaries.me, you'll get a holiday survival package about, especially the people you got to deal with as you come into the holidays, and how to immunize yourself against going into maybe some depressions and other things like that. All right, guys. Anything else from the team? There's 3 packs of workshops, pick and choose. Guys, I'm going to sign off here. Anything else you want? I don't want to hear about it later. All right. They said we're all good. I told you all, go to boundaries.me and check it out. Love to have you join this community. All right, guys. Been good to be with you. See you Monday.